Welcome to Santapod Raceway for the FIM Super Street Bike Racing here at the main event. It's the end of May and we have two action-packed days of qualifying and then the all-important Eliminations Day to look forward to. The cream of European drag racing is here this weekend, including 24 exceptionally quick super street bikes, all vying for just 16 places in eliminations. It's the second round in the FIM European Drag Bike Championships, with first round being in Hungary, where Rick Stubbins took the win. With the all-new concrete track here at Santapod and a whole host of 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour capable bikes entered, he's going to have to be on top of his game this weekend. First off, we caught up with Mogens Lund, who also raced in round one of the championship out in Hungary.
We're currently in the third place, so there is at least 2 rounds to advantage for Rick to first block, and he's pretty consistent in what he's doing. So, but we are going to try. It all depends on weather conditions and track conditions. We are aiming to maybe hoping to get the 6th this year, but it'll come when it comes.
I mean, we had some detonation problems down in Hungary, and it was just we removed the charge cooler off the bike, and we thought we could run without it, but obviously the bike was getting a bit too warm. Detonation wouldn't change gear, so you know we've put it back to what we know. So hopefully this weekend we'll get a bit more consistency back.
Now Rick obviously did very well last year. It looks like he's started off the season doing quite well. Do you think you can get there and get up to him at the end of the season?
Well, the problem with Hungary is obviously we had some problems with the lights down there, and I went out with a red light because the tree was running on a 0.6 light instead of a 0.4, so a bit of a shame, but things happen. So yeah, I'm a bit behind, but let's see what we can do. We'll try and catch him. I'll do my best. No, I mean there's a lot of fast bikes here and there. I wouldn't put my money on any of them. You know, if I can get myself back to my normal game, there's no reason why I can't win.
28 best last year was really good way to end the season, and yeah, hopefully get back to that and maybe creep up a bit more than that. Maybe get to a 20 or something. 20 flat this year would be good. Yeah, I've still got Walter Sprout in America helping me tune in, and Lucas Oils have backed me again for this year. So that's a big weight off of that sort of product sponsorship.
On to our first round of qualifying on a warm, muggy, sunny afternoon here at Santapod. Far lane, that's Mickey Olin joining us from Sweden, and closest to us, that's Rodolfo Maduro from the Netherlands. All our riders will want to get to grips with the new track as soon as they can. Good opening runs and impressive speeds already. Eric Jans from the Netherlands takes on Thomas Granitza from Germany on the Team Joker bike closest to us. Thomas and his brother Peter are regular competitors here at Santapod. Both riders off the power at the top end. Great to see Margot Schmidt making the huge step up into the class, and the same can be said for Jake Michel. Both very experienced riders, well known here at Santapod, but this is their first ever qualifier in FIM Super Street Bike, so the nerves must be jangling. And wow, look at that, straight into the mid-sevens for Jake, and Margot also cards that magical 7-second pass. Sandro Haldeman from Switzerland on the Speedfighter bike in the left lane, taking on Robert Hagblom from Sweden. Sandro powers on to a 7.70, Robert off the power, but plenty more chances to improve. Graham Dance on the G-Sign BTC Moto Suzuki takes on Pete Field on the onboard power machine closest to us. Both riders from the UK and both capable of running some seriously quick times. Pete's off the power at the top end. Good opener from Graham. Hopefully that smoke doesn't mean damage. Mark Hope on the Hope Racing Suzuki is running alongside Eric Gruber all the way from Austria on our first Kawasaki of the day. Mark fighting to keep the front end down, but good solid runs, and Eric already down towards the mid-sevens. A pair of Kawasaki's now. Clemens Volliet from Germany takes on Dave Thomas from Sneffely. Obvious problems for Dave off the line, but a good opener for Clemens. 7.71 at 192. The UK's Jemma Venables of Ven Racing is running alongside the Lucas Oils-backed bike of Steve Mead. Wow, a huge wheelie for Jemma, beautifully controlled, no such problems for Steve. He's hit the ground running, posting a stout 7.51 at 194. Jemma, no doubt, still getting her breath back. Steve Venables in the far lane just watched his daughter pull that huge wheelie. Now he has to get his head back in the game. These two are real heavy hitters. Garry Bowe, of course, closest to us. Both 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour bikes, but issues in both lanes. Graham Bouching, closest to us, has seen some amazing improvements in performance in testing, so he's a man to watch, as is Ruzi Zorzi on the Carbonara racing bike from Italy. A huge wheelie from Rudy. And wow, a 7.16 at 203 miles an hour for Graham, but lots of smoke from Rudy's bike. Franklin Borg, closest to us, the man who ran the fastest ever pass in Super Street Bike in Europe at the Eurofinals last year, a 6.91, and he's running alongside Daniel Donalentz from Hungary, another man who ran some impressive numbers on the pre-event test day, posting a 7.24 at a stunning 210 miles per hour, and a good opener from Daniel there, but Franklin off his usual pace on that one. Reigning champion and current points leader Rick Stubbins up next on the Protec Racing Suzuki Hayabusa. He's running alongside the man who finished second in the FIM Euro Cup Championship last year. That's Mogens Lund from Denmark. And wow, a 7.14 puts Mogens in number one position for now. So after the first qualifier, we have our 16 race places filled, but that means 8 racers are already on the outside looking in with 3 more qualifiers to go. Garry Bowe is in the top 16, but that 7.80 he ran wasn't the number he was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, on the first one we had a 7.0 tune up in it right from the word go. But I made a mistake in the garage at home. Somewhere along the line I left the clips loose that holds the plenum on. So we got no power, no boost, it just all leaked out of there, and we've got nitrous oxide on it for this year, and we had a technical issue with that. It didn't open the solenoid and it put the extra fuel in to go with the nitrous, but didn't put the nitrous in there, so it was running a bit sick, and we just basically had no power, and we went 7.8 at 170 mile an hour. So next run is the 7.0 still in there, and if everything all goes according to plan, we should be right back in there.
Is a nitrous to give a big lump of power? Is it just to get things moving at the start?
We took last year. I damaged when the engine blew up. It put the conrod right through the front of the block, and it damaged the intercooler. So we thought, while we were at it, we'd always wanted to try nitrous oxide because we think there's benefits to be had in there. So what we've done is we're using nitrous oxide as an intercooler, but with the new NLR GATS program, nitrous is easier to control than turbos are at high boost, so we're going to use the nitrous as a control, and and try and even finer tune the bike and see if we can get it dialed in even quicker, to see if we can start and run some consistent 6s on this brand new track. So, and the track looks awesome, so we'll see as the weekend goes on.
I did do testing on Thursday. I had a couple of passes, and they were both really supposedly. They were planned to be just gentle passes, bedding in a motor. But the second pass, I put what I thought was about a 7.3, and then it went 7.15, and a 204 mile an hour, which was a PB. And I was quite surprised, to be honest.
So the track is obviously suiting whatever setup you've got in there.
Well, that's the point. It is the track. I think I picked up the mile an hour I've picked up was because I can now get in the bike and stay in the bike. Before, the track was quite bumpy and I was having to move around. And the bike would tend to platter across the track, and I'm having to steer it. And when you're steering it and doing all that, you're not in the bubble, so the aerodynamics are not as good, and my mile an hour wasn't as good. So I just got really nicely tucked in, 204 mile an hour, 7.15. I thought, oh, this is amazing. And it felt so undramatic because it wasn't bumpy and I wasn't fighting the bike. So I think I can see a low 7.0 on the bike now.
Interesting ride for Jemma Venables in Q1.
Okay, well, I know at the start of the weekend you found a bit of a problem in the bike. There was something like 20 pounds of boost running through it all the time, which is not safe to ride.
No.
Thought you got it sorted, but that was quite a wild ride.
It was, yes. Still a little bit more boost than we should have had, but we've sorted the issue from before. But yeah, was a bit scary, definitely.
Now, it happens very, very quick. Do you actually have any control apart from just trying to snap the throttle off? Do you actually have time to think, oh my gosh, what's happening?
No, it is all in reaction. It's built into your brain of what you are meant to do. If you do start thinking, then that's time gone. So that's when you start making mistakes, when you try and think too much about what you're trying to do.
And you did try and carry on with the run, didn't you, afterwards?
Yes. Always going to get it for some more, definitely. Just try, keep on trying.
Well, obviously you've got to try because it's oversubscribed this weekend, so not everyone's going to qualify, so you've got to actually work at it.
Yeah, it's down to a 16 bike field out of, is it 24, I think? So definitely need to get a good run in next time.
On to Q2 late on Saturday evening. Our bump spot, which is a time posted by the 16th placed rider in Q1, is a 7:93. To qualify, both Dave Thomas and Eric need to run quicker than a 7:93, but it's not happening on this run. Jemma Venables will be hoping that her bike has calmed down after that wheelie in round one, as will her dad in the other lane. Still pulling the front wheel up, and she's off the power and not yet qualified. For Steve, though, it's outhouse to penthouse as he gets in the field and straight to the number one spot.
7:10 for Steve Venables, and he's number one at Owen.
Well, Mickey Ollam was just bumped out of the field by Steve Venables, and the bump spot lowered to 7:91. Neither he nor Thomas Granitza in the far lane are in the field at the moment. The bump spot displayed on the boards and makes it in, as does Mickey for now. Germany's Clemens Valette is safely qualified with a 7:71, but Robert Hegblum in the left lane is on the outside looking in. He needs a 7:88 or quicker. Well, that 7:80 does the job for now, but he's sitting on the bump spot at number 16. Sandro Haldeman from Switzerland ran a 7:70 in Q1, so is in the field. And Margot Schmidt ran that milestone 7-second pass, a 7:94, but she needs a 7:80 now in the coal-fire lane. Sandro improves, but no such luck for Margot. Well, Garry Bowe told us he'd left the 7.0 tune in the bike. Eric Gruber will be looking to improve on his 7.67, but problems for Eric off the line. Gary's on a flyer. And there it is, a 7.08 at 205, number one spot for the BTC Moto Team Bowe bike. Pete Field had a very off-pace run in Q1. Rudy Zorzi in the right lane fared somewhat better with a 7.91, but both riders will be looking to improve considerably. But still not happening for Pete. He sits up on the bike. Huge problems for Rudy as well as the engine grenades. But luckily he keeps the bike straight. Let's hope he's got a spare. Well, that was Franklin Borg burning out. He's running alongside Steve Mead. Bike tuner Simon Willing Franklin on. Both riders easily qualified, but they'll want to make sure they're in the top half of the table. Wow, job done for Franklin. That 7.13 moves him to number 3. Jake Michel, closest to us, is safely in the field with a 7.58. Mark Hope has been bumped out, so he needs to run better than a 7.75 now. Problems for Jake. And what's Mark got for us? Oh, a 7.63. He's back in the field. Rodolfo Maduro from the Netherlands out on a solo. Mark Hope just knocked him out of the top 16 on the previous run. The bike not sounding quite right, and he stays on the outside looking in. Well, Rick Stubbins ran a 7:20 in Q1 and Daniel Donalets, closest to us, ran a 7:39. Good numbers, but both riders will be looking to improve. Problems for Rick, so he comes out of it. Daniel's sticking with it and a slight improvement, but he'll be looking for more, as will Rick next time out. Last pair of the session, and it's numbers 1 and 2 qualifiers going into Q2. Mogens Lund and Graham Bouchin. Well, Graham broke traction slightly away from the line, but he's back on it. Mogens looks to be onto a flyer here. Oh, and yes, he takes number 1 spot from Garry Bowe, and just look at that side-by-side 200-mile-an-hour passes in both lanes. At the end of day 2, we have a bump spot of 7:75, which I think is going to go even lower. If it does, we'll have the fastest ever FIM Super Street Bike bump spot in Europe. Stunning stuff. I think you can say that they like the new concrete track here at Santapod. Few runs to bring you from Q3. First up is Graham Dance, who missed the second qualifier but is safely in the field with a 7:43. Graham's usually one of the top riders in the class, but things certainly not sounding right on this one. Well, let's catch up with him and see what's going on.
Yeah, we don't really know what's wrong with it. We're not building boost, and on the last pass we misfired down the track, which is a bit disappointing since we started off the weekend so well. Well, we're just going to go back in there, check the cam time in, check for leaks on the plenum and on the boost up pipe. I can't explain it. It's very frustrating because we started off so well and now we're struggling. There's a lot of people struggling today, and I think we've just joined the club.
Now, if Jemma Venables gets back into the field on this run, we'll have our European record bump spot in the class. She needs the 7:75. And yes, she does it with a 7:63. A couple more runs to bring you from Q3. And first it's Graham Bouchin on the Kawasaki running alongside Steve Venables. Both men finding a rich vein of form this weekend. So this could be something special. Both bikes launching flat. This is looking very quick. And wow, a 6:96 at 214 mile an hour for Steve. That's the first half of a new European speed record. Handshake from the chief starter Ian Marshall, and well done to Ven Racing. And to finish off the session, we have Mogens Lund closest to us in the Auto Glim lane and Franklin Borg in the Coldfire lane. Mogens just saw his number 1 spot fall to Steve Venables, and he'd dearly love a 6 this weekend. Franklin's already a 6-second runner, remember. Improvements for Franklin with a 7:12, but both men stay in position. Plenty of work in the pits before the final qualifying session, where the final 16 will be set. For the bikes that still don't qualify, they'll have one more chance to get in the show as alternates, filling a spot on the ladder if another bike can't make it onto the line. A quick look at the final qualifying session late on Sunday evening. Huge crowds here at Santapod this weekend. Warm, humid conditions and plenty of personal bests being set across all the racing classes. Margot Schmidt and Clemens Valiet, neither rider in the field as yet, both looking for a 7:67. Clemens currently at second alternate position of number 18, and no improvement for either rider. Eric Gruber in the left lane, Robert Hegblom closest to us. Big wheelie for Eric, number 20. And Robert's in! Sandro Haldeman from Switzerland on the Speedfighter bike in the left lane, and closest to us that's Rodolfo Maduro from the Netherlands. He's back in the field! Steve Mead and Jemma Venables. Steve's comfortably in the show, but Gemma's on the bump spot, so a nervous few minutes for her. Steve's on a good run here. A 7:33 at 193 miles an hour for Steve. He'll be happy with that. Well, has Graham Dance fixed his problems from Q3? He's running alongside Mark Hope. Well, I think you could say he has. A good run for him, and look at that speed for Mark. Just a gnat's whisker away from the magical 200. Daniel Donalets taking on Rick Stubbins. Rick, usually Mr. Consistent, but he's struggling this weekend. Great run from Daniel. A 7.18 moves him up one spot to number 7. And our last pair in qualifying is our numbers 1 and 2 qualifiers going into this session. Steve Venables in the left lane, Garry Bowe closest to us. Problems pretty early on for Garry. He'll be disappointed with that, but Steve, with a wiggle at the top end, goes through with a 7 flat.
No, track-wise, it's what I expected. It's a very quick track, it's a very fast track. So we're happy that we have this kind of track that we can tune the bikes for. As far as the bike is going, we're being innovative, we're trying new things, and we're not on point yet. So I can't say that I'm 100% happy with the performance of the bike. We ran a 712 yesterday. Every pass was over 200 miles an hour, so it's on the right track. But no, we're not on point. We're not still on point. We had tested in Malta, but we had chain problems, so that made us lose like 10-12 passes, which were planned to tune the bike. So basically, we're tuning the bike as we're racing. So
yes, I'm feeling confident about it. I do my best. Now try for some betterity. Hope everything goes well.
So that sets the final field of 16 qualified riders, with Robert Hagblom taking the first alternate spot, and of course Steve Venables in that number 1 position.
It's all come together now, yeah. You know, we knew we had it, so it was just a case of fixing all the problems, and now it's all coming together. It's just tuning, so it's actually relaxing a bit now.
And there's an interesting first round matchup, we think.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I've got to race my daughter in the morning, so I think she'll be trying to either poison me with the food or do something, I don't know. But to be honest, once I do get onto the start line, I do shut down and I do the same thing every time. So it's you know, I would love her to beat me. If she can legitimately beat me, I'd be so happy. So yeah, that'd be good.
After 2 hard days of qualifying, it's time for the all-important eliminations. Much cooler conditions today, with cloud and mist replacing the unbroken sunshine. It's the pairing neither Venables wanted to see in the first round. Jemma in the right lane, taking on Steve. But what's just happened? Well, Jemma launched, Steve stayed on the start line. Well, a glitch meant the tree didn't run, so the race will have to be rerun, and more nervous moments for the Ven Racing team. Steve Mead burning out, and Simon in his lucky sweatshirt guides Rudy Zorzi into stage. Rudy reaches for the skies, controls it well, but it has to come off the power. Steve powers on through to take the win with his best run of the weekend. 7:32 at 194 miles an hour. Frustration from the man from Italy. Mark Hope, closest to us, takes on the 6-second bike of Franklin Ball. A wild ride for Mark, struggling to keep the front wheel down. No mistakes for Franklin on the Malta Busa, taking the win with a good enough 7.65 to move on to round 2. A man very much on form is Graham Bouchin, knocking on the 6s on the Maverick Racing Kawasaki. Graham's taking on the first alternate, Robert Hagblom, who replaces Thomas Granitza, who had engine damage. Big problems for Graham at the hit, and it's Robert pulling out a lead. Graham's chasing, but it's not going to be enough. Robert takes the win with an impressive 7.63, taking out one of the favourites here this weekend. Jake Michel of Team Asylum is taking on a second alternate, Eric Gruber from Austria, who replaces number 3 qualifier Garry Bowe, who had damage during qualifying. And it's Jake with the better reaction time, but he's soon into problems. Eric, who yesterday didn't think he'd even be in eliminations, pulls ahead and takes out the UK's Jake Michelle to move into round 2. Number 15 qualifier Sandro Haldeman takes on number 2 man Mogens Lund, who ran a 7.02 in qualifying. Almost identical reaction times, then Mogens stamps his authority on the race. He takes the win with a 7.04 at 203 miles an hour and a very impressive 7.54 lose out there for Sandro. He'll be pleased with that time. Hungary's Daniel Donalets of Team Brothers takes on a very rapid Rodolfo Maduro, numbers 7 and 10 qualifiers. Almost identical 0.1 second reaction times. This one is a heck of a drag race, shoulder to shoulder the whole way down, fighting their bikes, but at the stripe it's Daniel who takes the win. And just look at those times and speeds. Neither man wanted to lose that one. Well, 2 bikes from the UK. It's Rick Stubbins on the ProTech racing bike, proudly displaying the race number SSB1, and he's taking on Graham Darts in the Auto Glim lane. Oh no, Graham's rolled the beams. He's put a cherry on the tree, handing the automatic win to Rick. Rick's been slightly off pace this weekend, only qualifying at number 6, and it's fair to say he dodged a bullet on that one. So it's a rerun time for Jemma and Steve Venables. Steve over there in the coal-fire lane. Problems for Jemma at the hit as the rear wheel breaks loose and she comes off the power. Steve fighting the bike the whole way down. But wow, look at that. Steve's a class act, posting a 7.03 at 200 miles an hour to take the win and move into round 2. Mixed feelings, I'm sure. Now, even though she didn't make it into elimination, Sansapod regular Margot Schmidt still had a good weekend.
You've dipped into the 7s.
Yeah, I did. First time 7s. Very happy. Didn't expect it to be that way this weekend, so was jumping all around there yesterday, yeah.
You've been riding quite regularly over on the continent, I guess, for some years.
Yeah, I've been racing for several years in Drachten in the Netherlands. And the last 4 or 5 years I'm coming more often to Sampad, England, because the track is awesome, crew is awesome, and really enjoying it here. So,
what are the plans now then? You're going to race a few more rounds for the FIM Championship?
Yeah, I want to do the Nitro Olympics and the final event here at Sampad, and also joining the ACU events in, I think, in the combine class, or might be jumping to the super speed, see how it goes.
You're obviously going a little bit quicker each time. Can you feel the difference in it? Obviously, when you first started off with this bike, it was probably a second slower. Does it feel that much faster on the bike?
The first runs we made, and when we put in some boosts, you can feel the bike going faster and faster, but you're getting used to it real fast. Just cost me 1 or 2 runs, and I'm like, can we put it up a little bit, because it's feeling a bit slow, can't say, yeah.
We're trying a few new things, so we're using it a little bit of a test meeting. It's not ideal to do that, but I want to try some new stuff this year, so we've got to get on and do that. Oh, the track's amazing. So I'm really happy with what they've done this year with the track. That's perfect.
On to the quarterfinals, where 8 will become 4.
I don't really want to do any other.
Steve Mead, with backing from Lucas Oils, has shown great form this weekend, as has the man in the other lane. That's Steve Venables. Oh, and a huge reaction time advantage to Steve Mead, a 0.09 to a 0.17, but Ven looks to be on a flyer. Oh wow, he takes the win with a 6.92, backs up his 6.96 in qualifying for a new European ET record. Well done to the Ven racing team. Malta's Franklin Borg takes on Robert Hagblom, who came in as an alternate and took out Graham Belchin in round 1. Almost identical reaction times, and they're shoulder to shoulder. But what's this? Franklin's got problems. He's sitting up. Robert powers on through to take the win. He's into the semi-finals here at the FIA FIM main event. His march through eliminations continues. Daniel Donalets, who had that amazing race against Rodolfo Maduro in round 1, is taking on Mogens Lund from Denmark. Daniel lightningly quick away from the line, but the man in the coal-fire lane mean business this weekend. He's chasing a 6-second pass and just isn't making any mistakes. Problems for Daniel in the Autoglim lane, but another consistent run for Mogens. Stubbins on the Suzuki Hayabusa takes on the man from Austria on the Kawasaki, Eric Gruber. Rick beats Eric away from the line and keeps the advantage. The bike settles by three-quarter track and Rick powers on to take the win. Valiant effort by Eric, but it's Rick that's through to the semis.
Yeah, I think we're back. First run this morning, obviously against my daughter, the lights played up and then we had a rerun. I think it messed with Gemma's head a little bit, so, a bike's not exactly behaving how we want it this weekend, so we'll go away, we'll get Gemma sorted. But my bike, I think we've got there, we just went out on that last one, set a new European record, so yeah, you could say we're happy. Yeah, we're just going through everything, when you start putting this sort of power through, we start taking teeth off sprockets and things like that. So we need to check it. Second chain this weekend. It's just we're bending things, breaking things, but that's just the wear and tear, the stress these things go through. It's mad.
Lots of entertainment here at Santapod this weekend as we move on to the semis. Robert Hagblom has a mountain to climb on this one, taking on the DME-backed bike of Steve Venables. Robert does everything right, 0.09 reaction time to Steve's 0.11, but Steve's on a mission, fighting to keep the bike in a straight line. It's Steve Venables who takes the win with another 6-second pass, bringing the man from Sweden's weekend to an end. Second semi-final, and it's Mogenslund taking on Rick Stubbins for a place in the final. Rick reacts to the green light first, a 0.09 to a 0.19, and he seems to be pulling ahead, but Mogens is coming back. Oh, I think he's going to do it. At the stripe, it's Mogens who takes the win with a 7.10. What a race to take out Rick Stubbins. Straight as an arrow right the way down the centre of the lane.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try the best I can. Like I just said to Steve before going up, this is going to be a rerun of Valdosta in November last year in the US. So, but I promised him to go through this time, not blow up the engine on the way.
Two giants of FIM Super Street Bike race in the final. Mogenslund and Steve Venables. 0.002 reaction time from Mogens to Steve 0.8. He's trying everything shoulder to shoulder the whole way down, but it's Steve Venables who takes the win by a whisker. Race of the weekend, and just look at those speeds. Side by side, 210 miles an hour. Well done to the Ven racing team.
It was an interesting race against your dad. 2 attempts at it. Have you enjoyed the weekend?
I have. We've got through a lot of bugs with the bike, slowly moving forward with putting boost in where it should be, but it's been a bit of a ride with up and downs, literally.
But Steve, I think it's starting to come good for you, isn't it?
Do you know, all the hard work, it's brought you down over the period, but then all of a sudden, it's all come together, and what a bracket bike that bike was today. 630, 620. Can't ask for more. It's been brilliant.
What a show the class put on this weekend, and what a final that was. The quickest and fastest side-by-side race ever in FIM Super Street Bike in Europe. We're going back to ACU competition next time out with the SPRC Summer Nationals back here at Santapod in a few weeks' time.